Hello, my name's Artemis, and is it just me that looks around this fandom and sees a bunch of whiny bitches? I mean, no judgment intended, obviously, because when I look at these whiny bitches, I also see myself, circa 2017 or so, when I was getting into this thing. Because it seems like everybody seems to adopt this weird, sort of peaceful, pacifist, very agreeable persona that we think is going to help us and help us socialize and be more amenable to people. And in reality, is actually going to destroy any chance we've got of forming a meaningful relationship with somebody because we're pretending to be something we're not, which I get as an ironic point to make when, well, look at me. But it's hard to fix this sort of problem, especially if you can't see that it exists. And even when you do, how do you go about suddenly putting barriers in place and enforcing boundaries? Well, isn't it lucky that I'm still on my community service kick and have decided I will try and help you with the benefit of my experience to level up before you should. It's a cheat code, basically. Let's go through some cheat codes, or at least I can get annoyed at the things that I used to do and still see people do. Whatever the fuck this video is going to look like, let's just get into it. Now, the first point I would like to talk about is boundary setting. You know, those invisible lines in the sand. Cross this line, you will not, be lousy quote. And these are the sort of things that help you determine what exactly you will and will not tolerate. But fortunately, a lot of people like to say, I've got boundaries and you won't cross them, and then they routinely let people cross them because they refuse to enforce them. And be honest with yourself. How many times have you decided to tolerate the thing that you said you would not tolerate just to avoid upsetting someone or offending them and potentially pushing them away? Because that really doesn't fucking work.
I don't really like it when you do this thing.
Really? I kind of do. So, like, no offense, but I think I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Oh
yeah.
Okay.
You can't tell yourself that you have these boundaries that other people just cannot cross and then not enforce them. It kind of erodes your sense of self and control and how you actually curate your social interaction, and just sort of lets it be known that these boundaries don't really mean anything, and that if people cross them, then it's totally fucking okay. It's not mean. It's not a bad thing to enforce your boundaries. It doesn't make you a bad person or like you're attacking someone or pushing them away. As long as you do it in the right way, anyways.
I would never tolerate somebody booping me with a ball because it's disrespectful and I don't like it.
You know what? That is a good point. I agree. You should never tolerate that sort of shit. It is disrespectful.
My turn.
Ah! Now, obviously, it can be quite tricky to actually enforce these things in a good way because it's easy to lead with emotion. Someone's done something that upsets you, you're going to be pretty upset about it, and it's likely you're going to turn around and tell them to fuck off. And sometimes that does work, but a lot of times you can be more softer-spoken with it. It's not going to make you a bad person to enforce these things, but it will make you feel like you're a bad person. If you are someone who suffers with a fear of abandonment and trust issues, which, let's be honest, most of the furries fucking do, it's very difficult to try and enforce these things without feeling like you're pushing people away and that they aren't going to like you anymore. The really hard part of that conversation is that if you enforce a boundary and the other person leaves your life, that is a good thing. These boundaries are actually a way for you to have a good sense of back and forth and trust with other people. It's a way for the relationship to enrich itself. You are telling this person, hey, look, I care about you and our relationship, but these are some things that I can't tolerate, and would you do me the kindness of working on them so that we can continue to have a good relationship? If they're not willing to do that, let them go, because they're not going to stick around much longer anyway, because this person is not fucking right for you. But that's a very hard thing to do, I will give you that. Do it anyway!
So I already told you I don't like being booped with a ball, so you need to stop doing that.
Oh, okay. It's literally that easy. Another way we tend to appease people, and therefore draw in the wrong people into our life, is by, well, literal appeasement, being as agreeable as possible, twisting ourselves into knots to be as tolerant as we can of opinions that just do not fucking match ours. It doesn't really matter what we stand up and believe in, because the other person is very vocal that they believe in the opposite, and while we might not agree with it, we're not going to fucking say that. God, that might push them away. That might turn them into a confrontation. We don't want that, obviously. We want to be seen as the nice person, the good person, the one that's worth keeping around, right? Totally doesn't lead to shitty situations. Honest. You know, now that I think about it, it doesn't really make sense for a short person to have the same amount of rights. You know what I mean? Like, If you're that much shorter, then you should be like that much less free and rights owning than someone who is of the proper height. You know? Oh, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
If you don't stand up for your beliefs, then do you really have any? I mean, I'm not saying we're just going to sit there and tolerate legit fucking alt-right ideologies and shit. We always call that out. But this is like the smaller things. The things that sort of hit you a little bit harder. The things that perhaps could lead down those roads. And not everybody's going to be as vocal with it, but when you're just quiet, it just sort of enables it. And if you're just going to let them keep talking about it, it's going to get to the point where it's going to piss you off and you're really going to hate this person. And that could be a good thing if they're the wrong person and you shouldn't be fucking hanging around them. But also, some people just get swallowed up by the propaganda. Some people are just misled. Some people are just fucking stupid. And if you're not calling them on that, then you don't really respect them that much, do you? Because I personally would never let my friends suffer the indignity of being wrong. But for real, no, for real, seriously, putting it all aside, being as purely logical as possible. Fuck short people, right?
Fuck you!
Now, as I mentioned, this might sound like it's just going to push people away, and Mr. Fear of Abandonment over there doesn't want to do that, but essentially it is pushing people away, and essentially it's a good thing. And this is a very difficult part of all of this, because I found myself twisting myself into different opinions and becoming someone that I didn't like. I didn't want to be that person. And this didn't come to big things like political or religious ideologies. This came with like group dynamics with a little group of furries. And I found that I was holding opinions of people that weren't my opinions. They were other people's opinions, and that I was acting on those opinions as if I believed it. When in reality, I was just going along because, well, I felt valued, I felt special, I felt like I was a part of things and that I mattered. That led me to do some things that I regret. And I'm not going to put the blame on those people. It's entirely my fault. It's entirely my responsibility for the way that I act. But the way that I was feeling and the direction from which I was acting was bad. I was trying to appease someone who should not be appeased, who was not right for me, and was not right for a lot of people in that group. And it was only when I stopped doing those things and was actually doing the things that I believed were right and that I should be doing, that the right people gravitated towards me. And those people are still here in my life. So when I say sometimes you need to drive people away, I mean it. Because sometimes the wrong people need to get out of the way so the right ones have space to step up. It can feel mean, it can feel shitty, it can feel like you are just looking to attack somebody. It doesn't have to be that way, but sometimes some people deserve to be attacked. I know that's a very vitriolic thing to say, but some opinions should be challenged. Some things should not be tolerated. And if you're finding yourself in a situation like this, and you're having to constantly sort of send your values down the river in favor of someone else's, then, well, see how long you can manage that before eventually it all comes crashing down.
I appreciate you can have a different opinion, but I'm not going to twist myself into knots just to satisfy you.
Oh, okay. It really is that goddamn easy. See, that's exactly how it should happen, by the way. That right there, that thing that you just saw, that's how normal people that actually want to stick around in your life will deal with this sort of thing, okay? That's the legit agree to disagree kind of thing in action. If they can't do that, fuck them off. The third and final point I would like to talk about in this appeasement journey that we're trying to fight is harsh truths and your inability to tell someone that they're actually being a dick. Not everybody is a bad person. Some people just have bad behaviors that they have learned in basic survival. It's how they have been brought up and how they have learned this is safety. And those things need to change when the environment changes, and it can be hard. So you can be the good person that says, hey, this isn't appropriate anymore. I get that you come from a place of heavy banter where you're always sort of roasting people, but this ain't it, okay? You should stop, but no one really knows how to fucking do that. Because again, we don't want people running away from us, so we will appease them and twist ourselves into knots and let them get away with these things that are actually damaging the relationship. Hey, I just wanted to say that usually you look all, you know, like matted and disgusting and gross and shit, but you don't look that bad today. So yeah, good job.
Thanks.
Now, just because a truth might be harsh, it doesn't mean that it has to be harsh. It doesn't mean that you can't convey it in a kinder, softer way. And this might sound like pandering. This might sound like just being like, oh, little baby, don't hurt their feelings. And sometimes it could actually be that. But the more important thing is when you want to deliver this harsh truth, and you need to, it's about language, I guess. It's about thinking, this is the information I want to get across to this person. What is the best way for me to get that across in a way that they are open to and will understand? You are looking for a certain result, and the result is them listening, understanding, and modifying their behavior for the betterment of the relationship, right? That's what you want. Do you really think that shouting at them is going to get that result? It ain't. It might feel good in the moment, but it's not going to get you what you want. So there are ways that you can communicate better in a way that they're receptive to get this message across. No, for real, just being honest, you kind of always look a little bit awful, like, you know, this just scruffy. But, like, today, like, you don't look shit, you just look like, you know, the fart. Like, you're on the right track, almost, kind of.
You know what? With a bucket of cabbage, Maya Angelou.
Once again, this is another little thing that you just want to sort of nip it in the bud. It can be a bit difficult and awkward, but if someone's exhibiting these behaviors and this pattern that you don't like, it's not going to work for the relationship long term. So if you care about them, you need to bring these things up. You can't just appease them and let this go. At the end of the day, you want that person to be the best version of themselves that they can be. You don't want to enable the shit part of them that isn't going to work, so don't be that enabler. Help them grow, help them learn, but do it in the right way. We can all be the villain and march in and go, oi, you're a cunt. But no one's ever stopped being a cunt because of that. I sure as shit happen. So it's all about figuring out the best way to go about this to salvage a relationship. And if they're not receptive to that, if they don't want to modify their behavior, fine. Then they don't have to. But it also means that you don't have to keep them in your life and that they don't have to stick around. And that is a fundamental good thing. Let the wrong people fuck off. It's a really important fucking point there. Jesus.
Now that that's out of my system, you have a really harsh way of saying things, and I'd appreciate it if you stopped to think about the things you say and how you said them.
Oh, okay. See, it really is that fucking easy.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke. Oh, you just
yeah, you didn't see that one coming, did you? Bitch!
You just come stock with these?
Of course, there are plenty other things that people do that kind of stop them forming a meaningful connection. It's not just these three. These are just the three that I'm seeing quite a bit lately. And it's making me think, oh, God, maybe you should stop doing that, because you're going to learn that lesson. And to quote a show that I really enjoy, the only way to learn that lesson and not have to go through it is to watch it. So, yeah, I think that's the phrase, whatever. I might have found it and put it up, who knows. But essentially, it's easy to be this sort of amenable, agreeable person, and that's the problem with it. It's easy, and it sort of works on a short-term, superficial vibe, but it's not sustainable, and it doesn't lead the right people to coming to you. And having done this myself and attracted all the wrong people and learnt the hard way what happens when you can't pretend anymore and you need to be yourself, fucking sucks. And if I can spare people that, then I will certainly try to. I probably can't, as they say. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't stop it from trying to fucking drown itself. But whatever. Thank you for watching, at least. I hope this made sense. I hope it was vaguely entertaining, or maybe even more than vaguely. If you did enjoy this, and you're thinking, man, that guy, I bet he's got big feet. I bet he's got big paws. I do. Both. And you can see them. Because I post that shit. And if you're one of those people that's like, oh my God, I can't believe he's posting this sort of content, shut the fuck up, because look at the world we're living in, okay? We all need a fucking side hustle. We all need some way to supplement our meager fucking wage, and this is mine. So, yes, maybe go and check that out. And if you also want to help me continue to make videos and support this channel and everything that we do, we have a Patreon as well, which has a bunch of exclusive things. There's an exclusive video every week, little skit videos that don't see the light of day on YouTube, so go and watch them on there. We got a Discord server, which I'm being more active in, because I'm remembering this time around, and we actually do, like, weekly voice chat hangouts as well, so you can talk to me, which I really hope is a selling point and not just scaring everybody away. But there we go. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was a good video. I don't know. I haven't fucking filmed or edited it yet. I'm still doing that right now as I'm doing this. But if you're watching it, then I have. So, I don't know. Time's a flat circle. Whatever. Thanks for watching, I guess. Bye!